Hey, just back in Dubai now, just at UTMB for the last week, or feels like a long time, but always does when I'm traveling. And traveling to a race and not actually racing is always a weird feeling. I think I've only done it maybe 2 or 3 times, but I was there, a part of the team, and we're having a tough time. As a team, we're having a tough time there. A lot of people have had bad days, bad races, and I guess like being there in Chamonix and sort of being around that festival, that carnival of running for the entire week. There's 5 or 6 different races now, 15,000 runners over the week, which means, yeah, there's a lot of individuals that will travel there, but usually people will travel with families. And, in our case, we're traveling with physiotherapists, coaches, team managers, marketing, media, PR, chef. It's a whole, instead of kind of 6, 7, 8 athletes, however many were actually racing, competing this week. It's maybe 30 people, and that many people in one place at one time, times whatever there is, like 30, 40, 50 teams. Adidas, same deal. Hoka, no doubt, same deal. They sponsor the entire race. And being in the expo, or the expo village as they call it, to make it sound a little bit more trail-like, it's just everything that I try to avoid when I go to a race. I'll just try to be away from everything. So if I'm going to put in a block of training, and then I'm going to get fit, and then I'm going to put in a block of 10, 12 week training, including the taper, and then I'm kind of like in the last week, I'm going to a race. So I've been on the course for the last sort of 4, 6, 8 weeks, and then I'm racing. The last thing I want to do is be around people that are coming in from all over the world. The last thing I want to do. So when I go to Comrades, I'll literally hide in my hotel room. You go to these places, and as an athlete, you get taken care of. So somebody's kind of booked usually the flight for you. Somebody's booked the hotel room. Somebody's booked a transfer. Somebody's picking you up. Somebody's doing this. These are all people that have been in contact with multiple people in the week and the days before, that have been from all over the world. And the best place to pick up a bug is usually on an aeroplane. So it's always quite shocking for me when, your immune system should be tip top, and it should be able to handle these things, but you're taking on bacteria from the Far East, you're taking on from America, you're taking on from Northern Europe, you take from everywhere that you've not been, and then you're putting your body to the limits in order to try to just, UTMB is no joke. It's probably one of the hardest races in the world. In terms of, like, there's no, I will always say that a race is as hard as you make it. The 50k uphill races that I do, I love, because there's no escaping them. There's no rest period within a race. Whereas there's no rest, if you're running 100 miles, there's no rest, you might be rotating muscle groups, and you might be going up and down hills, etc. And you may feel as if there's some rest that way, but it's at some point the wheels are going to fall off for most people. And we're seeing that today as I kind of like check the live feed and I check the video and see what's going on. Jim's just moved into first place, and there's something there that should be a message to most people. And I guess if you want to be, if this is going to be the World Cup of trail running, or the Super Bowl of trail running, whatever you want to say, and I've had this conversation all week. What is the most competitive race in the world? What is the most prestigious trail race to win in the world, you know, and there's different answers, and it's difficult for Europeans and other people in all the other parts of the world to go over to American races and do really well, because of the traveling, because you've got to be on the course for that long, and it's difficult for Americans to come over to somewhere like UTMB. They don't really have trails and mountains like that in the States. I'm told that. I still find it hard to believe. There must be somewhere in the States where it's sort of like that, but yeah, it's much more runnable usually in the States. The courses are much less technical, and so poles are not, or you don't see poles used in, not the people, the actual equipment, but you don't see those used in American races. So, like, you know, Jim kind of, and I've met him a couple of times, and he's an out and out winner and an out racer, and his style isn't, it's you know, it's a quick half marathon time, low 60 minutes. I want to say 62, 63, 64 minutes maybe. You know, he can run a fast 5K. He's obviously run fast 100 miles, has the course record at Western States, 14:09, which is quick, but he had to get that right, and so it becomes something else. But him fully committing and going, right, I'm going to move from where I live in Flagstaff, move to the valley in Chamonix, and train on the course for however long it takes, like throughout the winter, ski mountaineering, then, you know, getting the course absolutely dialed in so there's no surprises. It's becoming so competitive that and deep as well. Like I'll still say that, you know, despite what I've heard this week, in any race, there might be 2,000 in the UTMB, there might be 25,000 in Comrades Marathon. There's 10 guys who can win the race. There's 10 guys who can win the race. You're not going to get a surprise, really. You know what everybody's doing, social media, kind of access to results, etc. You know what people are capable of, and there's probably 10 people that can win the race. So although you might be competing against 25,000 at Comrades, you're competing against 9 guys, yeah? And it's the same at UTMB, I feel. And then take that step further, and you're competing against people that have to know the course inside out. They have to have probably lived on the course or thereabouts and trained on the course relentlessly for the last at least 12 months, if not more, or trained on very, very similar mountains. And I think that's why Killian has done so well in the past, because he's just been brought up there, and, you know, uses science and works with the best people in order to kind of apply that to the surfaces that he's running on, and just dominated in UTMB. And I think that's what we're seeing now. Certainly, you know, it would be difficult to win Western States. Like that achievement for Tom Evans to go over from UK to win Western States, there's a lot of science gone in there. There's a lot of kind of nutrition, the ketones, you know, is massive in cycling, and we're gonna see the difference that makes in ultra running for sure, and marathon running, in terms of like training and recovery, and but also in the race. My cat, the reason I'm up so early is my cat woke me up again, and he's now tired, which is ironic, but come here. But yeah, so you kind of like, it's still, I'm still figuring it all out. What's important. Like, for me in running, you want to have a battle against somebody. You want to get people in one place and say, right, you're the best from here, you're the best from here, you're the best from here. Let's get together. Let's get on the track and run 1,500 meters. Whoever's the fastest 1,500 meter runner will take the gold medal. And so you try to kind of apply that. You can apply that to marathon. You can look for the fastest marathon course. You definitely have an advantage if you're going to go into New York and you're from the States. You don't have to have the traveling unless you can get there well in advance. Traveling's always going to do something for you. It's always going to tire you out a little bit more, probably a little bit more than what you think it is, no matter who you've got on your side. And it's going to help if you've got exercise physiologist. You've got your masseur or physiotherapist with you to kind of freshen you up. You've got your nutritionist there who's going to kind of everything is dialed in, because the stakes are higher, and that's sport. Like, the higher the stakes, the more money at stake, then the more the bigger the team, and the more that goes into kind of that win. So yeah, we're seeing Jim out there at the moment. We're seeing Zach Miller, two Americans sort of basically neck and neck at the moment as I see it. Like, my money's on Jim, and I hope he pulls off the win because of that level of commitment of getting over there and just going, yeah, I'm moving, I'm going to be on the course, and no matter what I've done before, he's done a fast 100k, really a lot of versatility and a lot of talent, and the right mentality, and I love that kind of gung-ho kind of, I'm gonna win this race. As I was speaking to different people this week, he never enters a race and thinks, I'm going to try and come top 3, or I'm going to try and come top 5, I'm going to try and come top 10. It's just not in his thinking at all. He's going to try and win. Why enter if I'm not going to try and win? And that's his mentality. And for sure that, a lot of people, as I'm looking at the comments just on the feed, I'm looking at the YouTube kind of live comments, that's not gonna resonate with everybody. But why should it? Is sport not kind of a battle of different strategies, different personalities, different characters, and using different strategies, different plans, and seeing who puts together the perfect plan and strategy? Yeah, it's all very, very different to me. As I looked at some of our team members putting out there, just nutrition is a huge table full of plan, where you've got different checkpoints labeled, and there's a plan in place, there's a whole team involved, there's a whole kind of, that's got to get to there, and that's got to get to there, and they're thinking in their head, how many carbohydrates have I got coming up in my drop bag, how much hydration have I got left, how many miles or kilometers have I got to run until the next. And so it's not just a foot race, it's not just an out and out race, it's who's kind of put the best team and who's kind of put the best plan together in order to win. And I guess, if anything, what I'm thinking right now is I've confirmed what I've always thought about this, is I love being in the Himalaya, I love running in the Himalaya, and just being out there for literally months, and those have been some of the best times in my life. And I'd probably like to go to this and do it in a couple of days, and just sort of like, or 2, 3, even 4 days. I was speaking to some people this week that had done it in 4 days, and they said it's tough, but it's so beautiful that it's good to take it in. When you're obviously in race mode, you're not thinking about the sights. So I guess what I've confirmed is, like, I love running because I love the competitive side. I love the racing. I love wherever you're from in the world, it's possible for you to show up on the start line and we're going to go head to head. That's not possible here. It's not possible to compete if you've not put a considerable amount of time and commitment into the race. So yeah, it's still interesting, and I'll continue to kind of like process my thoughts and thinking about what it all is, because it's a circus for sure. Like, out there this week, it was a circus. You're running into people, and it's the who's who and the who's that and who's the, and can I have a picture with you, and do you even know who I am, or or do I just look like a runner, and therefore, so it's a bizarre world. But yeah, anyway, I'm gonna go out and run. It's gonna be, I'm not gonna swear, it's gonna be hot out there. It's gonna be 45 degrees. So I'm gonna go out and enjoy that. Get some sun, much needed sun after a week in the snow, and yeah, talk to you later.